Hey Canva friends, today we are going to talk about effects. Canva has probably three main ones. One of them can kind of fall under the same category, but we're going to talk about effects on text, page effects, and image effects. And then, in addition to the image effects, there's a border that you can add to some of your images. They have to be uploaded images. So I'll compass those two together. And then future videos, I will talk about font downloads and font uploads, a brand kit builder, downloading in Canva, such as PNGs, JPEGs, PDFs, those types of things. And then there's a way to find your previous versions if you edit something and then saved it and can't undo it, those types of things. One thing to know about Canva is if you're familiar with like Procreate or even the Cricut, um, the basic concept of things is going to be the same. Layers is the same. Pulling things to the front and back of a layer is the same. So we can talk about that, and it would be other videos, but layering in Canva. The different project sizes they have in Canva, such as presentations, videos, um, those different types of things they have. But some of the time, you can take a board like this and do multiple slides, and it looks like a PowerPoint presentation. It is very. It is also going to be similar to PowerPoint, especially what we talked about today, the effects side of it. Images move and transitions move in PowerPoint. It's the same basic concept for things moving in Canva. So we'll go over those. A kit builder is this, what you see right here. This is, I use this for work. So we built the brand kit with all of our colors and our fonts for um, things that have to be branded. So if you're using it for a business, whether it be a corporation business or your small business, you can preset fonts and colors. Let me show you colors. For example, if I put in a square here, these colors here in my brand kit are all approved colors that I can use at work if I have to create something that is branded and put our logo in here. Um, so we'll talk about that in another video. That's some upcoming videos I have planned for you. But today we are going to talk about the effects and the ways that you can make things pop and exciting, kind of like this. We talked about this in the last video. This little sticker looking thing, if we change the background, if you've seen that Valentine video, you'll see that this is a font that looks like a sticker. There's a way to do this. You definitely do this in Procreate and upload it into Canva. But there's a way to do some similar stuff to this in Canva. So I'm going to stick with the Valentine theme and pick a Valentine color. Doing this by changing this background is just going to be able to allow you to see what I'm doing easier. So we're going to take a text, doesn't matter which font for this, and I'm going to change it to 200, and I'm going to say, let's just say Happy New Year. Okay, that font, doesn't matter, I guess you could do it this way. I don't really like my words stacked like that, so let's just change this to 170. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, the first thing you want to know is there's a difference between animate and not effects. So animate up here is going to be similar to PowerPoint. If you are doing, let's say you're doing a actual presentation with multiple tabs like PowerPoint but through Canva, this is where that's going to be similar. You can have this start and it'll say Happy New Year. You can change the duration of how long it takes to bring up Happy New Year. Then there's other functions to that work, like basic. So all of these are easy to play around with. There's no way to really edit these. It just does what you ask it to do. Combinations, basic, exaggerated. What I am going to show you today is the effects as far as like shadowing and border and those types of things. And to access that, you have to click on your text box. Do you see how when you click in your text box, your text toolbar comes up with your font and your size, and you can change the color, right? If we wanted to have maybe yellow, well, not yellow on pink, white on pink, that's how you change it. Depending on what font you're using, if it's an uploaded font, more often than not, you're not going to be able to use these. That's why when we talk about downloading and fonts in Canva, I'll show you what I mean. You can find fonts that are bolded or italicized or slanted. So and it's kind of, that's a little bit more of a moderate level of understanding of Canva. But some of them, if they're Canva fonts, you can make them bolded or italicized. So popular fonts. Okay, so these popular fonts, you can see it says popular here. These popular fonts, most likely you'll be able to bold and or italicize. It would be one, or it wouldn't be one or the other, it would be both. If you can italicize it and bold it, but most of the time you can always underline, no matter if it's an uploaded font. Like these are all of my uploaded fonts. So let me show you where it says uploaded. Get to the right here. So they're all in alphabetical order. So these are some of the most recent ones I used. I used this Valentine one for the last video I did. I can't bold it, I can't italicize it, but I can underline it. Or I can make it all capital. It's really easy to make all capital. So whatever font you're using, as long as you click in it, this toolbar is going to come up. This is aligning, bullets, changing your line spacing. That would all be another video that we could talk about. But the effects only comes up here if you're clicked in it. Animate is still there, but this is where you get the effects section. So in the effects section, you've got two, what I call subcategories, right? We're under the effect category, we have style and we have shape. It does kind of look a little overwhelming, and that's the purpose of this video, is to kind of go through these, especially when you click on ones, they're going to bring up a bunch of options. So the easiest ones are shape, right? Either straight or curved. Maybe you're making a sticker for your small business and you want it to say thank you. I was going to say thank you for your order, but maybe it's your business name and you want your business name to wrap here, and then you want something else to wrap underneath. So let's see. When you click on it, it makes it straight so you can see it, but let's get Control V. So we're going to make a circle out of this font, right? Now, so you go back to the effects, and do you see how I was saying it opens up? Let me move this. It opens up other options when you click on it. So our top Happy New Year is curved at 86. If we pull it the other way and go to negative 86, let's see, you can even type in this box, negative 86. Basically, we've flipped the circle. The words are still the same, but we now have a circle. So that's the easiest section of the effects, is the shape. You can mess around with the curve. It doesn't have to be as curved. It could just be, down just a little bit, or it could be up just a little bit. Whatever you're looking for, you can mess around with that. It's super easy to work that through. So let's undo this and go back into it and talk about some of the other ones. I don't use a lot of these ones, honestly. I've never just had to use them in my types of projects. Um, the biggest one you'll probably use is shadow. So let me show you. I always change a color that's going to show up under my font with my background. So let's change that to black, and you can see the offset. Right now we're at 50. If you change let's make this bigger. Sometimes they're hard to see. Let's see if I can actually just zoom it in for you. Okay, let's come back to the effects. Make sure this is black. Yep, that is black. Okay, so here we're going to change the offset. Do you see how the happy that we're zoomed in on is acting as if it's higher off the page, right? Now, the less that you do, you're not going to be able to see any of it. Now it's completely off. So it's about 50. So we'll leave it at 50 where it stays. Just a second ago when I said, oh, let's make sure this is black, it looks kind of, if you can zoom in, it looks a little grayish, right? Well, that's because your transparency is down. Transparency changes how much of that color you see. It acts as if it changes the color to a gray, but it's really black and it's just making it more shadowy in this case because we're on shadow. But I usually don't like that. If I'm going to put a color behind it, I want to see that full color. So I change the transparency up. Blur is set at 0, but if you turn up the blur, it kind of becomes more neon-y, right? I don't mess with that because there's a neon one, but obviously you tweak these to what you're needing. The direction, you can see that it's shadowed as if the light is kind of angled almost above, whereas if this, you can see it's right on. This becomes almost a border. Oh, that's offset. Put that back to 50. Direction, you can see how it rotates around your wording. So this looks definitely more of like 3D block letters, maybe kind of think in your head if you were going to put wood letters on the wall with your kid's name and you took a picture of them all sitting up on your dresser, that's what the shadowing is going to look like. Whereas down here, that's a full circle. So whereas like down here, it's maybe just a different angle of photo you're taking. So you can change that around. I usually leave the direction kind of where it defaults, just because that's what looks best for shadowing. But you'll hear me say a lot in this video is it's based off of what you're doing, based off of your preference, what's needed for your project. And then, yep, so that's all for that one. So I'm going to zoom this back out. Let's see. Sometimes there's a save button, but it doesn't look like there is on here. So I'm going to hit none and come back to this and take my transparency up, change it to black, just for purposes of being able to see. And then leave the offset. Yeah, we'll just leave the offset at 50. Okay. So there's this option. Now, let's talk about, let's just duplicate this. We'll move that one down here for now. So come back in here and we're going to use this bottom one as an example and we're just going to keep working off this top one. So now we're going to work on lift. Lift is very easy. When it comes to the other extra options, you just change the intensity of the lift of the, let me zoom in for you, the lift of the glow basically. And you can kind of see that. This is very similar to stuff you can do in Procreate if you've ever worked with that. But you can see the intensities there. To be honest, I don't use this one very often. But But yeah, there's that as an explanation if you ever choose to use that. So I'm going to hit none there. Well, actually, I'll leave it on so we can see. Let's do 70% intensity just so we can see what it looks like. So we're going to Control V that again. So I'm going to move it down here so you can see at the end, we'll see all of our different types of effects. Okay, so next is hollow. Hollow I use in two different ways. The way that hollow is designed to be used is it takes any font and makes it hollow, which makes it an outline. So you can change your thickness of how thick you want your lines or how thin you want your lines. Obviously, the thinner you make your lines, it's going to act more transparent. But this is like the font that pink is. It's what is that? Embroidered font, an embroidered filling, something like that. This reminds me of the logo for pink. I think it's a Victoria's Secret pink or something. It just is going to outline any single font. There are fonts that you can get that come in multiple different downloads. You can get regular and bold and then outline. But if you're a font that you're working with and you really like doesn't have an outline option that you can download, whether you pay for it or you don't pay for that font, this is going to turn any font in an outline. So some of my projects, I really like this font and I'm leave it as that. Let's make this one black and see if we can see it better. Perfect. There we go. So sometimes I leave it just as that. And that's good font if I'm going for that vibe. So let's save that one so we can see it. But let me show you how I use this font or this option. I am going to take two of them and I'm going to come back here and I'm going to click on my bottom one. This has to do with layering, so you'll have to stay tuned for another video with layering. But the reason I'm doing it this way is it's going to be easier in the end to work with because of the layers. And since this isn't a layering video, I'm not even going to get into that. So here's two that are hollow. I'm going to take the bottom one back to the original font that I have been working with this whole time. Now I'm going to change this back to the white we were working with. And now I've got the hollow. So what is cool about this is because it's hollow, right, which again is an outline, if you take it, you can either take it up and line it. Sometimes it snaps into place. Sometimes it's a little finicky. Like sometimes it's really hard to get moves around like this. So a quick way that I do this is I highlight both of them and you go to the letter space, this one. Where is it? Oh, just kidding. Sorry. Position right over here. And I am just going to align them. No, we're not. Just kidding. We're just going to do that. I'll have to play with that and see what I was trying to do. Sometimes it comes up and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you can align them, but that might not be actually with font. Anyways, so when you get it to snap, now you have the font that you like and it is outlined. So I'm going with white writing, a black top, but now because my black outline is the layer that's on top, which again is in another video, but because it's on top, I can change it to fit whatever. So if I just had let's say if I had a white background and I can't do white background, sorry, because that's my font. Let's do a black background with white writing, and then I could come in here and change my effects color to say yellow, purple. So you can see, depending on the color you choose, will determine if it looks neon-y or not. But that is an option that I usually really like to do that gets me a font outlined. I'm going to group this together just to move it. All right, so far we have 4 different ways to do effects with only 3 effects so far. So let me ungroup this and get us back to our font. Maybe I didn't ungroup it. All right, so the next one is a splice. Basically almost the same thing, except you can change your color. And okay, so this layers it backwards for you. So our top font is the white font. I think it's the white font. Let's see. Yeah. So our top font is white, and now it's created a border over our words but pulled back our black. So basically it's almost like this one right here, as if it separated the 2 layers and pulled it back a little bit to give it that beveled-ish look. So with this one, you can change the thickness. See how the white is our font color. Our font that we chose color, which would be this color up here. We chose it as white. In the effects down here, we chose black. So it's pulling those 2 apart. And because we have the thickness completely off, the color we have down here is black. It's going to look as if our font is black. So you can change the thickness and you can change the offset. So here you can see it, if we turn it up just a little bit, do you see how it's as if it's a shadow, right? And it's pulling away. It's giving you that more 3D look. And then you can change the direction of that happy. So again, remember that Happy New Year black is the font color we picked when we went to splice. The white that's not moving is our actual font color we originally began with. So this one you can see is a lot more complicated than the hollow. So I don't use this one. It's not very good on my eyes, so I never use this one. But you just messing around with it gives you different elements here. So let's keep it like that that's kind of okay on my eyes. Let's keep it this way for just purposes of this video. I'm going to select all of these and move them down a bit. All right, let's move on to the next one. I'm trying to make this video not super long, but this one's one that's going to be a little bit longer. Okay, echo. Again, these ones kind of look similar, this row, this hollow, splice, and echo. So let's see. Let's change our font so we can see what we're talking about. Okay, so our background, again, is the black. The offset is just how far it's going to echo. In their case, they've chose to name it echo. But this one looks like it's got 3. It does. So let's zoom in. So echoing, right? Usually an echo is echo, like hello, 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 right? So happy, happy, happy is kind of the way to think about this. So we've chose white. Usually, no matter anything you use, no matter what color of an item in life you use, behind that there's always a shadow, right? It's always a brown shadow, black shadow, no matter what color of item you're using. So think of that with this. We chose white. Behind our white font is a shadow, and it's a dark shadow. But then behind that shadow is another shadow. So, I mean, you can't change that very back one because it's supposed to be lighter, but you could change the color from yellow. Why do I keep picking yellow? To purple. So if your eyes can handle that and it looks good in a project, use that one. I'm just going to use black for this reason, and we're going to make it a little less. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. It's kind of easy to see just for, again, purposes. And we're going to move it here. I'm going to make these smaller so we can have more room, and we'll revisit these at the end. So all I'm going to do is just going to select control, not control. There we go. Click and select. Then I'm going to make these smaller. Okay, so the next one is glitch. This gives it the, in movies, anything that glitches, it's either purple and blue or blue and orange ish colors, which you can see they've got them right here. You can't change these too. Let's make this not, sorry. Let me move. Okay, so I don't know if I was recording that whole time or if I paused it when I moved it. So there's no way for me to check right now. So I'm just going to continue and repeat myself maybe. So the next one we're going to talk about is glitch. But before I do that, I'm going to change it to white. I'm going to take this off real quick and change it, the font color, to one we can kind of see with one. This one. Okay, so we've got a black font. We're going to come in here and we're going to pick glitch. Glitch is seen a lot in movies. So if something glitches, you generally see it glitch either purple and blue or blue and this orangish reddish color. So under glitch, you cannot change these set of colors, but you can change between either one. And maybe black is not the one to use. Maybe the background is white and then, or black, and then the font we do as, let's see if we can do it as white. That's kind of what we already did, wasn't it though? Well, there, that'll be good just to show you kind of what you're going for here. So see the difference in the two? Those are the general colors you see for glitch. The offset is going to separate it and make it brighter, but it's not going to look as glitchy as if you just left the settings the same. So if we leave the settings the same here, definitely is more of a glitchy. So this would be something you probably would use more if you were making a presentation and maybe you wanted it to, like, you were in the middle of a presentation and then all of a sudden your words like went glitchy. I personally can't see where in any either professionally or non-professionally, right, branded project I would use it in. So if anybody uses this in a project, let me know, like drop me your link, because I would love to see it. And I'll show you real quick what I mean by that. If you do something like this and you do the glitch, you can just do share and view only link, and it will copy that, and you can post it in the comments, and then anybody, you and myself and anyone, can click on that and it will pull up in a new window. It'll pull up in a new window, and all we'll see is your project. So if you find a way to use this in a cool way, let me know. I'd love to see it. I think that's a great way to help other creators out. And not necessarily helping others out, but there's plenty of times where I see something from somebody and I'm like, that's amazing. I'm going to like recreate that or make that better. Like, not steal your work, but take my own twist on it. And that's a lot of comes with creativity. So if you use it, let me know. I'd love to see it. We're going to zoom out and we'll put this down here and we'll revisit these again at the end. And I'm trying to make this video quick, so I'm going to go a little bit quicker. Take that off. Let's take this back to white. And then, oh, cool. We'll just leave it there because I clicked it. Okay. So this is neon. You can choose the intensity or the not intensity of it. But let's see. Click on this font. Let's make it. Why do I keep picking yellow? Yellow is my go-to color, apparently. Okay. I want one that you're going to be able to really see. Probably that was the best one. Okay. So, intensity. So it does, you can see how it kind of does make it look a little bit neon-y. Of course, anything that you design, color placement, color placement. The color that you choose is definitely going to make a difference. I really like the intensity all the way up because it does look glowy and it does look neon-y. Here it just is a lot darker. But if you definitely were going for a neon-y cute, like Happy New Year thing, that would be really cute. Let me show you one thing while I'm thinking about it. Under the text option, there are some preset like font combinations. It says right there is what they're called. So some of them do have little things created, and then you can just go in and change the font to something that you can see because you can't see that yellow. So take a look at those too. You don't necessarily have to recreate them, and you can just change. This is grouped together, but you could just say shine, sparkle. That's too long of a word. Hello, and I can't think of another 4-letter word. Wow, what is my problem? Or a 5-letter word. Nope, that's too big. Some of the words aren't going to fit in here. Well, we'll just leave it at that. So you can see, you can change each of those. You could, if you really liked this style and this thought and this color, you could ungroup them and use what you want. There's so many options in here that you don't have to recreate the will. If you already come into it knowing what you want, you can check this section out. A lot of the times I have no idea what I want to create or what it's going to look like, and then I just build it from there and I forget about this. But this is a good way to check out different fonts in different ways, and you can view different ways that they've grouped things together and their placement. But that's, since that's already pre-built, I didn't plan to go over that in this video, but it's really simple. Just check that section out. Every Canva Pro has it. So there's that as a neon, right? Yep. And then the last one for this video is background. This one I don't really use very often, for a couple of reasons. One, I don't really feel like it's ever needed often. But if you did want it, you can play with it here. What I find hard about this is getting the spread of this right and getting the not necessarily the transparency, but like the spread and how much roundness or squareness you want. So I don't do it this way because it is in this case reinventing the wheel, basically, right? If you can, if this works for like your OCD and your creative way, definitely go for that way. Sorry, I have barking dog and kids home one last day of Christmas vacation. The reason I don't use this one is because I can do it myself with a shape. So if I wanted a rounded shape, I could take the shape and you do have to mess with it a little bit. But what I like is that you can type in it. So typing in it gives you, let's do 70. Typing in it centers it automatically already for you. I don't like this color. Let's go back to this yellow. It centers it already for you, and when you shrink it to the size that you need, it automatically adjusts that for you. So there's no like having to guess. Like this intensity of the background here, it doesn't, if we did it like this, I'm like, oh, that would be a good size. And then I type over it. It's now, do you see how it's not centered, right? I mean, that doesn't look good. So it's a lot of back and forth of playing with, okay, what actually looks good and what is even, and am I centered above and below? And then if I'm like, oh, well, I like the edges, but I don't like how much there is on the top, you can't move it. I can't move my Happy New Year up to get rid of all of this excess I have up at the top. Where here it's centered up at the top, and then if I wanted it closer together, it's already there. Plus, it's a little more rounded, or I could do square. So that's why I choose to do this route versus this one. It is reinventing the wheel, even though before I was like, don't reinvent the wheel. Sorry, there are some things that you need to base off of your preference. Everybody's design style is different, so there are multiple ways to do things. Some of them are a little bit longer, some of them a little more complex. Do what works best for you. That's my biggest tip is whatever works best for you when it comes to these effects, definitely do. Let's see if we can change back here so we can see. So here's an overview again of all of the fonts um, effects that Canva has. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's 9 of them. Actually, there's 8 of them. And then I did this one 2 different ways. So yeah, so that's all for this video. If there's anything that you want to see outside of the ones I've mentioned before that I'm planning on doing again, which are, oh, just kidding, we're not done. Oh, I'm so sorry. Let's hurry and do the image border since we're talking about the effects. I didn't want to duplicate that. I wanted to add another page. Okay, really, really fast. Let me pause and find an image that I've uploaded that I can use here, and I'll show you what an image border is and the effects on that. Okay, so let's go ahead and use cute little Mr. Grinch here. So this was a image that was bought, an SVG that was bought and then uploaded into Canva under the upload section, and then added into the project. So I'm going to click on him. Now you can see how over here, edit image comes up, crop, flip, and animate comes up. Animate, you can still make him move in your projects, whatever. But under edit image, you get a lot of different functions here. This is where you can do a background remover. If I used that when I took a picture of my daughter for school this year. She wanted her hair straight for her second grade pictures, and I know her hair kind of starts to separate and look as if it's not been brushed throughout the end of the day. So I didn't want her to have crappy pictures. So what I did is I took a cute picture of her just in my living room, and then I was like, okay, I'm going to make my own school picture. So I uploaded the picture to Canva, and I used this background remover to take out the background, and it was just her. And then I was able to place it on like a cute little like school vibey background that I get every year, and put in a border and put in the school year, and then used that one. And when hers came, they were very, very similar. Her hair stayed, so I ended up not having to use the one that I made. But that's kind of what you'll use it for. Take out backgrounds, those types of things that you don't want in it. But if you scroll down to go along with what we were talking about today, they have a shadow section. You can make him glow by clicking on it. Do you see how it kind of gives him that little bit of a glow back there behind his outline? And you can click into that and adjust the size, the transparency, the blur, if you want more blur or less blur. Again, that was under shadows, see all, and glow. So he already has a cute little border around him. So this is just making him look a little more popish. This one it's called drop, so it does look as if it's just maybe a picture taken in front with the shadow. You can go in and change the angle, the offset, the transparency. So I won't go into much detail because we already talked about these with the the text. They're basically the same type of things when you click in them and you try to edit them. So it looks like it's angled. So a lot of the time with images, especially, you just have to remember it as if this was a real life thing and you were taking a picture of it, where those shadows would go. Curved, lifted, which is like a page lift, and then backdrop. So those are just really quick because we spent so much time talking about them on the texts. That is where you'll find them for photos. You can mess around with stuff in here. You could make this look a little glitchy. That's a good kind of type of glitch. Is it even called glitch? Oh, bad TV, retro. So there's cool different ways to recreate and make Canva do what you're looking at for it to do based off of your project. Like I've said many times, which this is really cool. It's only something I've ever found on images, which it would be cool if fonts could do this, but it doesn't really do that. So mess around with those, but the basics of what I have showed you today. And then you can still, like I said, you can still animate it the best that you see fit. All right, so that is it for today. We talked about effects on text, page effects briefly, and image effects, and then the image border type vibes. So yeah, stay tuned for more videos. Thanks for watching. Bye.